All right, let's talk about something we've all felt. You know that moment when you have this amazing, brilliant idea, and then it just stalls. It's stuck. That gap between the spark in your head and a real thing in the world can be so frustrating. Well, today we're going to talk about a simple but super powerful framework, a kind of two-step dance, really, that'll get any idea unstuck and moving. So yeah, there you are. Your brilliant idea is stuck. We could call it the idea bottleneck. And listen, it's a totally normal place to be, but the good news is you don't have to live there. The way out is actually a pretty straightforward two-step process. Think of it like this. First, you go wide, you explore everything. Then you go narrow, you zero in on the one path that really works. Okay, let's break it down. Step one is what we call build to learn. This is all about divergent thinking. And what does that mean? It means you've got to forget about making a perfect, finished product right now. Seriously, just put that out of your head. Your only job at this stage is to create what you might call a conversation starter. Something, anything that's real and tangible so you can learn from how people actually interact with it, not just from what you think they'll do.
Now, this is absolutely key, and honestly, it goes against everything we're taught. Speed is more important than perfection. I'm going to say that again, speed over perfection. Look, we all want to make something amazing, but chasing perfection right now, it's a total trap. Every single minute you spend polishing an idea that hasn't even been tested is a minute you're not learning. The real goal is to get something, anything, into someone's hands and just see what happens. Right now, speed is your superpower.
So how do you actually do this? How do you build fast? It's all about using simple, cheap stuff. We're talking paper sketches, maybe some basic wireframes on a computer, or hey, even just cardboard and tape. The point is not to build the final version. The point is to make something that's super flexible, something you can change in 5 minutes based on what you learn. You're not fishing for compliments here. You're trying to provoke a reaction, good or bad, because that's where the real learning is. And this whole idea, this whole process has a name. It's called divergent prototyping. The movie director analogy is perfect. Think about it. They don't just show up on day one and start filming. No way. They storyboard everything, sketching out all the possible shots and angles to figure out the best way to tell the story. That is exactly what you are doing. You're exploring all the different paths your idea could go down before you commit to one. Okay, so you've done it. You've built a bunch of rough, quick prototypes. You've explored all these crazy possibilities. That's awesome. But a pile of sketches isn't a product, right? We're only halfway through the dance. So what's next? What do you do with all this stuff? Well, that brings us to the second, equally important step. Listen to focus. This is all about what we call convergent feedback. It's where we totally shift gears. We stop making new things for a second, and we start listening. This is the art of taking all that wide-open, creative exploration and starting to narrow, to converge on the single best path forward. And this is so important. This is not about asking people, so, do you like it? That is the worst question you can ask. Instead, you just share your prototype, and then you shut up, and you watch. You observe. Where do their eyes go? Where do they get stuck or look confused? You listen to the questions they ask you. Your job is to be a detective, distilling all of that messy, human, real-world feedback into a handful of critical insights.
Because that's the real treasure you're looking for. You're trying to uncover those deep user needs and, maybe even more importantly, the areas of confusion. Again, you are not fishing for compliments. You are hunting for confusion. Why? Because finding out what's broken, what's confusing, what doesn't make sense, that is 1,000 times more valuable at this stage than hearing someone say, oh, that's nice.
So it's really tempting to look at this as just, step one and then step two and you're done. But the real magic happens when you see it as a cycle. It's not a straight line, it's a rhythm, it's a dance. You go wide to create options, then you go narrow to make a decision, and then you do it again, just a little smarter this time. Think about what happens if you only do the first part. If you only diverge without ever converging, well, it's just chaos. It's a brainstorm that never ends. You'll have walls covered in sticky notes and a hard drive full of cool ideas, but you'll never actually build anything. It's all gas and no steering wheel. But the other side of the coin is just as bad, maybe even worse. What if you only converge? What if you skip the whole exploration part? That's called premature optimization. It's when you fall in love with your very first idea and spend all your time polishing it, perfecting it, without ever knowing if it's the right idea in the first place. You're basically slamming the door on 100 better solutions you never even took the time to look for. So this is it. This is the innovation dance, laid out side by side.
On one side, you have Diverge. That's the build part. The goal here is to generate options. The mindset is all about creative freedom. The action? Build fast and rough. Then you switch partners to Converge. This is the feedback part. Now your goal is to make decisions. Your mindset shifts to structured listening. And your action is to find those key insights and prioritize. They're two totally different modes of thinking, and you need both.
If you're going to take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. The whole point is to innovate like you breathe. Seriously, think about it. You inhale big and wide, taking in all the air, all the possibilities. That's your divergent phase. And then you exhale with focus and purpose, letting go of what you don't need. That's your convergent phase. It's a natural rhythm. Inhale ideas, exhale focus.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about for your own projects, your own ideas. Where in this dance do you tend to get stuck? Are you someone who loves to diverge, who can generate a million ideas but struggles to pick one? Or are you the opposite? Do you converge way too fast, locking onto the first decent idea and never looking back? Knowing where you naturally get stuck is the very first step to getting better at the whole dance.